Kids, it's time once again. We are back. This is episode 91. Are we really on 91 already?
Yeah, we are. 91.
We are. Wow. The We Are One, You Are Two Placing podcast. I'm your host, as always, Rob Fanzo. I'm joined by my co-host, I forgot to come up with an M moniker. The monikerless Matt Rhodes.
Hey-o.
I forgot to come up with one this week.
I mean, it still works.
It still works, yeah, because if I'm changing it every week, you technically are monikerless.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I knew that. That's why I did it.
Good job. Yeah, I'm sure that was planned for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, Matt, we got a great show lined up for people this week. We're going to kind of spread out ourselves among some topics here to kind of touch on different things. We're not going to stick to just one thing this time around. So we're going to hit on games that make you go out of your way for trophies, why every December is amazing for gaming. We're going to talk a little bit about some news that involves should cloud saves be improved on the PS5, because that was in the news this week. And I thought that was the most pertinent for our show this week to talk about.
Yeah.
And then we're going to jump into, and actually we're going to start with the pitfalls of Black Friday. And so we're going to do a little more topic-oriented show this week. So
sweet.
You and I both brought one to the table.
Yeah,
and
switch it up just a little bit. Yeah, like last week it was more about just talking more about the news. And this week it's going to be less news and more talk.
Yeah, we're a little bit of a variety show, I guess, in that way, right?
Exactly.
So, of course, if you like what you hear, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. Go find us on, Stitcher, Patreon, YouTube, wherever you find all that good stuff. You can go find us and subscribe or like and share us. We appreciate that. But if you don't, that's cool too. We get it. If you just want to listen and hang out and be a freeloader every week and just kind of talk to us, from a distance, we get that too. Matt, I guess we should go ahead then and move into what we always move into, just so people know that we're not just talking about games without actually playing any. Let's talk about what we've been playing this week as well.
All right. I will start it off. For those of you who always listen, Fortnite and Rocket League are always on there. It's few and far between that in these 91 episodes that I've been a part of. Well, I mean, I guess I've been a part of a few less, but either way, in those amount of episodes that I've been a part of, it's very few and far between that I haven't found some time to carve out some Fortnite or Rocket League time. Obviously, I made time for those. However, a couple additions to the list. Control, which I was just playing. I finally unlocked the levitate ability. I don't think that's spoiling anything, considering that's kind of shown in a lot of gameplay. Also, the game is
I feel like that's what they stole a lot of the game on, was that ability.
Right, exactly. And it's kind of funny that I feel like halfway through the game and you finally get it.
Yeah, and that's actually what blew my mind when I played it too earlier this year was, that the game the thing I wanted to do the most in the game, they clearly made you wait for.
Yeah, exactly. But that's fine. It's okay. And then this was going to surprise you, something we had planned on. Maybe we can play it after the podcast. But I played a little bit of Borderlands 3 because it's free this weekend.
Oh, yeah, I do have to download that. Yeah, this is the free weekend for that. I forgot all about that.
How dare you,
Yeah,
Rob?
I'm the one that told you about it.
I know. I was about to say, you told me about it. So I was like, well, okay, I'll throw my PS4 on rest mode over last night, and I downloaded it, and I played a little bit today until my girlfriend...
How do you feel about it so far?
I like it so far. I will say it's a little wonky with the aiming. I feel like the stick is kind of sensitive, so it's kind of hard to aim. I don't feel like there's like an aim assist, and maybe that's something I need to enable. I don't know. But yeah, it's a little hard in that sense. But I think that's mainly because I mean, it is a first-person shooter, but I feel like they're kind of focusing on these abilities now too. So that's kind of an area. Those are kind of more area attacks, I think, in my opinion.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I like it so far. The opening I played it for like half hour, maybe. Just kind of got through like the first like tutorial-ish mission.
Right.
Got to level 2. Like, XP level 2.
Makes sense.
Which unlocks your ability, which is, so it's kind of cool. So yeah, I don't know. Cool. So far, so good. I mean, it's a looter shooter. So I think what took me so long is I was just running around, opening up all the loot in the area, trying to collect as much money and guns and ammo as I could. So
yeah, and I feel like that's, I mean, that's kind of what you sign up for with Borderlands, right?
Right.
Is to do that. So
yeah. What have you been playing, Robert?
Well, I did want to say I thought it was funny you mentioned Control, because I forgot to mention, and I'm sure you know this too. Control just won the Viewer's Choice, I believe, they just won the Golden Joystick Award for Viewer's Choice for Game of the Year.
Nice.
This week, or this past week, and so I did want to mention that. And I guess since I'm mentioning stuff like that, I don't know if you saw, but PlayStation Game of the Year went to Days Gone.
Ooh, okay.
And so those two, had their moments, I guess. So I just want to mention that before I talk about what I've been playing, because what I have been playing and what I started with this week, finally, I decided just to jump right in, and goodness, is it good? I started playing Jedi Fallen Order this week.
Ooh.
Because I decided, you know what? I've seen lots of podcasts talk about it. I've seen lots of people sharing, little videos online and tweets about it. And honestly, I was enjoying Death Stranding a lot, because that's the other thing we've been playing a lot of this week. Yeah. But I got to chapter 5 in Death Stranding, and I just needed a break. I got to a section that you've done the mule camps already, right?
The what?
The mule camps.
For Death Stranding, I've gone. I've seen the president, and that's it.
Okay. Well, there are mule camps. I mean, that's not a hidden thing. There are mule camps that are these guys who like to steal packages, right? And so they constantly hunt you down. Oh, okay. Well, in chapter 5, they step it up a level. They get way more intense. And so I was having a little bit of frustration, and I quit it out, and I fired up Fallen Order, and I haven't looked back. I want to get back to Death Stranding because I'm really enjoying it still. I just haven't had time. And so really, those are the only two things I've been playing this week. I tried to get back to Blasphemous, but I just couldn't get there. And I feel a little guilty about that because I was so excited about starting that game. But that's also that game is going to be part of what I talk about in one of our topics too. And I think that's the other reason I've been deterred from playing that one. But anyway, that's really it. I've helped my wife with Super Mario Odyssey quite a bit. Nice. That's very she's kind got about of 40. She's got about 40 hours into it, and she's got about 350, 400 moons of the 999 moons. Wow. So that's nuts. Yeah. So she's been pretty hardcore about that. It's kind of funny. She beat the game. And so it was kind of like a let's play in my living room. A lot of the times I was just watching. Yeah. So I've seen pretty much the whole game played through. But some of the boss battles that come after you beat the game are a little bit more difficult. So I tried to help her out with those as best as I could. And so That's the other thing I guess I've been playing. And I fired up Luigi's Mansion today, but I didn't get very far with it. And that's another great game. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Short week for me. You and me both, actually. Kind of funny in that way. It's okay. Because the games I've mentioned, I haven't played very much at all. I've just touched them. Yeah. Well, I guess that's going to wrap that up. That's nice and short, although about the same amount of time we always take on that, which is kind of funny. Not as bad as last week, though. I felt like last week we rambled on for quite a bit. A little bit. So, a little bit. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about our topics today. Our first one, you want to go ahead and talk about or bring up the pitfalls of Black Friday? Because it is coming up by the time this podcast releases. It will be close to Black Friday. Right? Yes, this will be a very close edition. So shall we talk about it? Yeah. Do we have no news at all? None whatsoever? Well, you know what? There there is a little bit of news. I guess it depends on what you want to talk about. If you want me to highlight one or two things, I was super excited because this is actually one of the reasons I bought a Switch.
Okay.
Gris, GRIS, is confirmed for PS4 and apparently launches this upcoming week. And so you're going to see on the blog drop tonight that we read that Gris is listed there. Okay. And so that was actually one of the reasons I bought a Switch, because I wanted to play Gris. So I guess I can return the Switch now. But, that literally, that was one of the reasons. That was one of the big things I saw I was super excited about this week. We've already mentioned the Joystick Awards, the two things I thought were really interesting. I did want to mention that Uncharted creator Amy Henning is joining Skydance Media to make a game studio. Now, if you've never heard of Skydance Media, it's because I haven't either. But apparently they make Hollywood blockbusters like Mission Impossible, Fallout, and Annihilation. And so they are opening up a game studio.
Cool.
And so if you think about Amy Henning's track record with Uncharted, I think that's a really good fit.
Yeah.
Because the Uncharted movies are so action, story, narrative driven. They feel like an action film. And so if you've got this movie company wanting to move into games, which is kind of the opposite of what Kojima wants to do, then you've got, I think that's a good fit. Have one of the best script writing, narrative driven directors of the last 10 years in the games industry open up a game studio that a movie company wants to fund. I just thought that was exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The other thing I wanted to mention, you weren't really a fan of the Resident Evils, I guess, right?
Not really.
Okay. Well, apparently, Resident Evil 2 remake was a big deal this year. It's like one of the top games of the year in terms of Metacritic score. I think it sold something like, 100,000 copies away from matching the sales of the original Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation.
Wow. That's insane.
Or PlayStation. Yeah. And so rumor this week that I think is pretty much going to end up being true. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is apparently going to be remade, and the announcement is apparently coming very soon. And so it looks like we may be getting Resident Evil 3 Nemesis as a remake for PS4 next year.
Okay.
So we'll see about that. That's exciting. I haven't played 2 yet. I'm probably going to get it with Black Friday because it's going to be down to I think $15. And so that's about what I'd pay for a remake anyway.
Right.
All right. That was really it, I guess, news-wise. The one other piece of news I have with the cloud saves we'll talk about is one of our topics. Oh. Did you, you know what we should mention? It's not PlayStation related, but we should mention. I don't know if you saw this everywhere, because I sure didn't, but Stadia launched this week.
It did, yeah.
It did, with 12 games.
Yep.
That are over a year old. Well, two of them are originals. The other 10 are over a year old. And you not only pay the subscription fee for Stadia per month, but you also have to buy the games.
You have to buy the games?
Yep. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey is $59.99 on the service. And so you pay $59.99 plus your whatever it is, $9.99 a month, and you can play it on any device.
Are you sure?
100% sure, my friend. 100% sure.
Rip off.
Because that's what blew people's minds, is the fact that you have to pay not only, I believe it's the $65 for the controller. I believe it was $65 for the controller, or $65 or $80.
It's $65. You can get the founder, it's not founder's pack anymore, but you can get the pro pack for $120 or something like that.
129, yeah.
Yeah, includes a controller and 3 months worth of the service or something along those lines, and includes Destiny.
Yes. But it comes with Odyssey, Attack on Titan 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Borderlands 3, Doom Eternal, which of course isn't going to be there, right? At launch. Final Fantasy, Grid, Guilt, Just Dance, Pine, Metro Exodus, Mortal Kombat 11, Red Dead Redemption 2. And you can play any one of those games as long as you're willing to purchase it. Because I thought that was wrong too, but I've since verified that.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
Yeah, so we'll just say that I don't think Stadia is going to last very long. Right?
Yeah.
Kind of funny, kind of sad. Is what it is.
Well, the thing that I didn't see anything about that. What I saw was the fact that it's not 4K gaming.
No, it's not yet.
It's like 1080 tops.
Yeah, that sounds right too.
Yeah. So like it was like, HD gaming or whatever, but people the gripe I heard was based on the graphics or lack of.
I think that's just too.
Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. But that is really disappointing and irritating and unfortunate. But that is the way that has worked out, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, moving on from that, let's go ahead and move into actual conversation here, because those are just some highlights, I guess, from this week. Yeah. It was kind of a slow week, and I think it's because we're coming up on Black Friday. There's not a whole lot to talk about at the moment.
Right. That makes sense.
And I mean, there was other stuff that came out and other things that happened, but I didn't feel like any of it was worth spending a whole show on like we did last week.
So the pitfalls of Black Friday then?
Yeah, let's move on to the pitfalls of Black Friday, because I would love to know what you think of those.
So for me, it's about just wasting money.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. So there's all these great, awesome deals, right?
Yes.
Fantastic things going on as far as, game deals, games being half off. But as you and I both know, we have enormous backlogs. And what made me think of this topic to begin with was that, I talked to you about there's no point in me buying Fallen Order because I'm not going to get to it for a while, right? I still haven't finished Control. I finally finished Far Cry 5 last weekend. I have Death Stranding already purchased. So, I should probably finish Assassin's Creed Odyssey. There's Red Dead Redemption 2, which, I'm probably not going to re-download to my PlayStation again. So, I mean, who knows if I'll ever finish that or play it again, to be honest. So
no one finished Red Dead 2. Like 10 people finished Red Dead 2. So
yeah. So so you think of that, right? And then you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, these are awesome games. I want to play them. I'll get to them. But will you really? And then when will you get to them? Will it be sooner? Will it be later? Like, will you play it right away and then forget about it for a little bit? Or, because here's the thing. It's cheap now, but how cheap is it going to be when you actually have time for it? Yeah, I agree. Those are the major pitfalls that I've run into personally, where I buy the games. I buy a bunch of different games on Black Friday because they're super cheap. And then some of them I don't even play. Like the last time that you and I were both in Pittsburgh, you and I both went out on Black Friday, right? Yes. We went to a couple different places. This was like way back in when Borderlands 2 was all the rage. We bought Borderlands 2, LA Noire, and a few other games on top of that. And those two games, Borderlands 2, LA Noire, never even opened. I've bought LA Noire 2, maybe 3 times and never played the game. Right. So to me, it's just, it's not to say that it's not necessary, but it is. It's to a certain extent, it's unnecessary. If you have a game, especially a game like Death Stranding, which you're going to just unload a bunch of, hours into, play the crap out of that first, and then see what games cost when you're actually ready to play them. Now, yeah, what about the people who have waited for these games to go on sale? Right, like they know they wanted to play Death Stranding, but they've purposely waited on purchasing Death Stranding for that reason. I mean, that's fine if you're going to play it then. But if you're not, I bet you it's cheaper by the time you get to it. So you're saying maybe purchase just 1 or 2? Maybe 1. With all the games that have come out, purchase 1. I mean, because here's the thing, and we talked about this in a different podcast, how ridiculously big games are these days. I mean, how much time do you have to put into a 300-hour game? Yeah. Are you able to put that much time into it? Like, Cyberpunk is going to be amazing, but good God, that's going to be, that's going to be at least 100 hours game.
Well, I put over 200 into The Witcher, but that was also before I was married.
Exactly. I mean, you were going crazy, and then also you platinumed that, correct?
I did platinum that, one of my proudest platinums.
Right. So, I mean, obviously you put in a lot of time and effort for that platinum. But still, I mean, even just playing through the campaign itself to like, by the time you like leveled yourself up, was still what, 60, 80 hours?
I don't remember. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. So,
So you're advocating against buying more than like a game on Black Friday.
Yes, 100%. Like, I'm not going to buy any games on Black Friday. I've already made the decision that I'm not going to do it. And I know that I'm going to have, like, I'm having surgery at the end of the year here on December 23rd. I know I'm going to have a week worth of recovery where I'm just going to be laying around the apartment with literally nothing else to do. And then maybe I'll buy something. I
know too that if anything happens to you, I'll probably be in line to get your collection. So
exactly.
That's why I'm not buying anything on Black Friday.
Exactly. So, it's one of those things where, I'll just wait because I'm sure there'll be some kind of sale for games right before Christmas too. Because there almost always is. Because here's the thing. Some games have just been out a little bit and they'll go on sale because they've been out that much longer, right? They've been out a month longer and they're like, well, we better get that Christmas money before it's all spent up.
Right.
So, why not I'll just do that.
So I'm going to take the opposite thing of that. And I'm going to tell you that I think that it's worth buying a few. And I do agree with you though. I think it's worth more than one. And I'll put it this way. I've been super excited about hopefully Outer Worlds dropping down. And now it is going to be, I think, $38 or $35 or something like that at Best Buy, maybe.
Yeah.
But I also know that had I waited for a couple of the other ones as well, like Days Gone or Devil May Cry 5, games I'd waited throughout the year, because I think I'm going to take the argument of, I saw this on either Reddit or another forum where somebody told me that what they do is they don't actually buy any games all year, new games, and then they buy everything at Black Friday, and then they spend the following year playing them. And so they may not have played Code Vein, Devil May Cry, Metro Exodus, Days Gone, Plague Tale, Greedfall, and Death Stranding. So those 6 off the top of my head. But they'll purchase all 6 on Black Friday for like $15 a piece. And then they'll spend all of the opening part of 2020 playing through them. And so do you think that's a viable option?
Yeah, if you're willing to stick to that. But again, we've talked about this another topic on the podcast about how there's so many more games these days and how like indie games get pushed under the rug because there's so many AAA games or AA games coming out all the time. So there's always going to be something newer, better, bigger coming out, right? That's not going to change. And at the rate at which games are coming out these days, I mean, I feel like you got 3 months max before the next new awesome game comes out.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, if you're able to put in, if that's the only game you're going to play for a month, sure. And you're going to put, drain all of your time, all of your free time into that game. I mean, go ahead and do it. I'm not saying you have to follow exactly what I'm doing. I just know with how busy I've been lately with my new job and things like that, my gaming time has been cut significantly. And I know that I'm not going to purchase anything because I just don't have time. Even with the surgery at the end of the year, I know I'm just not going to have time almost until then, basically, right? Because I'm going to have to bust my butt at work to kind of make up for the fact that I'm not going to be there for the last 2 weeks of the year.
I also wonder if I can take another angle on this. Does this also fall into the category of whether or not you actually finish all the games you play? Right? Because if you're a person like I've moved on past where I don't feel like I can platinum every game I play. I never did feel like that, I guess. But there were certain games that I thought, I really want to platinum this. I really want to platinum this. I really want to platinum this. And I've kind of surrendered to several games going, I'm not going to ever platinum this because I just don't have the time. Code Vein's a good example. I really want to platinum that. I just don't have the time. Is this one of those things too, where maybe we move on to the point of acceptance that it's okay to have more games to purchase and play if you're not going to buy them all or not beat them all. I'm sorry, beat them all or even finish them all.
I mean, yeah, sure. If you're not going to do that, that's fine. But what's the point of playing the game if you're not going to beat it? I can understand not platinum. You and I are, to a certain extent, anomalies when it comes to trophy hunting. Like, you're a huge trophy whore, and I am slightly less of a trophy whore than you are. And I've gotten more to the point where I'm just like, no, there's absolutely no way that I'm going to get to these. I'm going to actually platinum some of these games anymore. Like, I just know that it's not going to happen, right? However, I would like to finish the games, right? Like,
I was going to joke with you about that because I think it's funny that you said you shouldn't buy games if you aren't going to finish them. I just wanted to tease you a little bit as somebody who almost never finishes the games.
I mean, but see, I'm the cautionary tale, Robert. That's why I'm trying to get across to our viewers is the fact that I am the worst about finishing games, and I'm wasting money because of it.
And I'm actually terrible about finishing games too. Not maybe to the level you are. I will honestly sink 30 to 40 hours into most games before I quit playing them. Right. And so that's typically what happens with me is when I go, I didn't finish a game like Red Dead, it's because I sunk 40 hours in and then I just couldn't justify doing any more. Right. Or like Odyssey. Right. I love that game, but I couldn't justify past the 35 hours that I sunk into it. And so that's where games like that are tough for me to justify. Now I say that, but then I spent 50 hours in Code Vein.
Yeah.
And I spent 110 hours in Persona and didn't finish it. Although I didn't finish it. So I think that says something too, right?
Right.
So it's just a question of like, I don't know, where do we draw the line with purchasing? Because I also see people who are huge collectors online, right? And some of them listen to this podcast. And I know, because I know their lives are so busy, I know there's no way that they finish any of those games, but that doesn't stop them from enjoying them all.
Sure.
And so is there anything wrong with that? I think not.
No, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I still enjoyed those games, right? I still enjoyed Far Cry for the time that I've played it. But getting back into it and finishing it, I was like, man, why did I not finish this? This ending, this story was so good. I know people had problems with it, but I loved it. So, I don't know, that completion of it, that kind of, just the completion of it in general is so rewarding in and of itself. And, you're playing a complete game. I mean, the developers didn't necessarily make a game for you to play half of it. It's a whole story, right? Like, obviously there are things like side quests and to kind of divert you away from the story or to, for those people who want to invest more time or kind of get deeper into the lore of the game, certainly do that. But if you can bust through a campaign in 30, 40 hours, do that too. Why not?
Yeah, and I do want to throw out something else that I think is really interesting about that, and in terms of finishing a game and really enjoying it. And you look at a lot of the trophies online. You look at a lot of even like PSN profiles, because I stalk that pretty religiously throughout the week, and I'll just look at certain games, see who's playing, how many players there are playing. So like Death Stranding, even though Jedi Fallen Order had come out, Death Stranding still had over 12,000 people still playing it this week on PSN profiles, and there was only about 5,000 or 6,000 for Fallen Order. And I thought that was really interesting. But beyond that, if you look at a lot of games, you can see where even among trophy hunters or people who have PSN profiles, how quickly a lot of that drops off. And I'll give you an example. Death Stranding, chapter 3 to chapter 4 goes something from or chapter 2 to chapter 3, actually. So the people who have chapter 2 trophy is something like 60-some% on there, 70-some% on there. And then when you get to the chapter 3 trophy, and I know chapter 3 is incredibly long, this is why, it drops down to like 40 or 50%. And then after that drops down to like another 10%, right? And so you have tons of people, and I agree with you. I think it's great to be finishing games, but you also have tons of people who don't finish games.
Right.
Right. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because you and I are perfect. You're probably more than me, a perfect example of not finishing a game.
Right. Yeah,
but,
for sure.
I just want to highlight that. I'm not knocking anybody who doesn't. I mean, I know plenty of people who get in the mail probably like or even digitally get 4 or 5 new games a week. And I know they're not finishing all of them. But if you're enjoying it and spending time with it, that's okay too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it is tough. I will say it is very, very tough to want to buy more games when you haven't finished the ones that you're working on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean,
yeah, this is about Black Friday, right? And whether or not to actually purchase games.
Yes, absolutely. In my opinion, not my opinion, for me specifically this year, not going to happen.
Yeah. And so for me, I think I'm not going to say not going to happen, but I will say that for me, this is going to be one of those years where I don't probably be on one or two games that I can think of. I'll probably, like I said, I will probably snag the wonderful Outer Worlds. I almost said Outer Worlds if it's available. But then beyond that, right. I'm not going to snag anything additional.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I would love to play Outer Worlds. That would be probably my top purchase. But again, I'm just going to wait. I know because that's a huge Fallout-esque game. That's just going to be 50 hours minimum.
Well, actually, that's the interesting thing about the Outer Worlds. It kind of appeals to me. I've read that you can beat the campaign in 15 to 20 hours.
Really?
Yeah. And that the whole game does take maybe 40, 50 hours if you're really interested in doing everything.
Okay. Well, then maybe I'm wrong there as far as, the time.
Yeah, length. In terms of time sync, you might be. But the general consensus of what you're saying is absolutely true, right? Like, you don't have enough time already as it is. Why are you going to bother with another game on top of it?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. Yeah. But, if you already have a game you're playing, just, I don't know, keep playing it. Yeah. Play the crap out of it.
And I think that bleeds into my topic. That's why I think, with whether you love Black Friday or don't love Black Friday or whatever, I do want to point out that I think one of the great things about Black Friday is that then December arrives and there are very few game releases typically in December. Usually we get like a Just Cause. Right. And we haven't gotten the Just Cause this year, which is kind of nice, right? Because I never play those anyway. Because while Black Friday comes and goes and December is great for gaming, that's always bad timing, I feel like, on their part. But yeah, that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk about December being such a great month for gaming, because it's cold outside. You're not typically as active. You're not typically as, and I mean, I stay active. I just stay active indoors.
Right. You're not going out as much. The weather's crappy. It's keeping you inside.
Yes. And so what I love about it, or what I really enjoy, I guess, as a whole about it, is that it gives you more time. And if you're a teacher like I am, or if you're a student, right, it's also a great time because you're off school. You've got extra time and, the holidays. So everything kind of adds up to where you have plenty of gaming time.
Right.
And so that's actually one of my favorite, I'd say December is probably one of my favorite gaming months of the year for that reason, because it typically spills over into January, right? There's almost no games released in January. And so we're able to have these 2 months that really, really allow us to enjoy and spend time playing games in a way that we normally wouldn't get to.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely right there.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, and this is what used to be true, right? February used to be great for that too. But now February and March have become the new September, Octobers, and we no longer get these short, or these, we never get these reprieves, from gaming. But now, if you think about February, March, there's almost always something coming out that we have to purchase or want to play.
Right.
And that was supposed to be The Last of Us this year, but it's not.
Which I'm kind of happy about.
Yes, me too, because you've got Cyberpunk. I know a lot of people are excited about Final Fantasy VII. Then those are both coming out following that. And so there's just no way, right? There's just no way you want to do this. I guess really that's all I wanted to say on that topic as well. And so shall we move on?
I mean, we can. Yeah. I mean, I will say I do agree with you as far as the pitfalls of Black Friday are concerned. Obviously, I don't want to purchase games that I'm not going to play right now because it's just been bad for me in the past. However, I will have all this extra time because of the holidays and things like that. So I do understand the flip side of it, right? Because it is kind of the same thing. having a big spending Black Friday when it comes to gaming kind of sets you up for that awesome gaming in December, right?
Yeah.
And January.
It's incredible in that regard.
Yeah. So I certainly understand that from that aspect for sure.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the last two things I want to touch on. And one is should cloud saves be improved on the PS5? I saw this was brought to my attention via Push Square, and apparently over at the Reset Era forums, this is a huge complaint because we're limited to 1,000 cloud saves for PS Plus members, right? On the storage part. So apparently there's been some cry that for the PS5, if we are limited on the PS4, for the PS5 that we need to actually get more space. Now, if you remember, they did up it to 100 gigabytes of storage.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of exciting. But then on top of that, I guess they did not up the number of saves. I don't know about you. I guess this is a problem because I guess if you think about it this way, it depends on the games, right? One of the issues with Death Stranding, apparently, and this is why I think this came up, Death Stranding, have you looked at how many save files it makes?
No.
Apparently it can make something upwards of like 100 to 200 save files.
What?
I have to look at that specific number, but I saw a news report last week, I believe it was, where people were going through and looking at the autosave, and autosaves, apparently there's a ton of them.
That's crazy.
I'll have to look and see. I'm trying to look it up now and see if I can find that news article.
Yeah,
on the fly here.
I guess I could understand people's gripe if that's what's, and maybe that's what's brought it to a tipping point is people have been playing Death Stranding and it's been saving so many different things that it's getting them to that $1,000 or 1,000 save max. And people are like, wait a second, what?
So here it is. GameSpot reports that file sizes can grow close to 1 gigabyte. And so an individual save is only about 13 megabytes. And so even if you take, apparently Liam Croft has 833 megabytes worth of saves. And so if you take, let me do a little bit of quick math here, right? We'll do this live on air and figure this all out. He has 833 megabytes divided by 13. That's okay. So that's like 65. That's 65 save files, but that's 65 auto saves. And so you're talking about 65, 70 auto saves. If you're given 1,000, that's taking up what? If you 100, let's say 100 out of 1,000 is what? 10%.
Right.
It's taking up 10% of your save space.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot. No other game does that I can think of to that degree. That's why people are upset. But that also means you'd have to play a ton of games, which you and I both play. I think, at least I know I play a ton of games, and I've never worried about that 1,000 saves.
I honestly didn't even know it was a thing until you told me just now.
I didn't either. So I guess that's the question. Do we feel like this is something that at least they shouldn't try to improve on?
I just don't know who it applies to. I'm so confused. That's a lot. That's a lot of saves.
It is. And we're not knocking this, but if you are one of those people who this applies to, will you please tweet at me at weare1ur2?
Yeah, please reach out to us.
Reach out to me at weare1ur2@gmail.com because I don't know anybody that applies to, and I've never heard anybody on my friends list. I've never heard anybody on Twitter complain about it until now. And I saw that news story, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I just want to know who this applies to. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
That people are running out of save room on the PS4.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah,
I don't know what else to say about that. I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was fascinating. I would think that people would... I would think that if it was a widespread issue, Sony would be aware of it and would probably adjust it, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's why I think it's like a niche little thing. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if it was widespread, I feel like they'd be like, okay, let's up it to 2,000.
Right. So I guess just add it to your PS4 wish list or PS5 wish list, right? If it's something that really is a problem for you, go ahead and add it to your wish list.
Yeah, why not?
I just didn't realize it was an issue.
I did not either, Rob.
Right. I'm all for people getting what they want for the PlayStation 5. And so we'll just add it to our wish list and see what happens. I'll be curious to see if Sony says anything and if they address anyone with this.
Yeah, it would be pretty interesting.
All right. That was short and sweet. I just wanted to mention that because I don't feel like you and I really have anything else to say about that.
I certainly don't.
I do feel like you and I have something to say about this one. And this came up because I'm playing a game I currently very much love, Blasphemous. Now, I didn't play any of it this week because I got a little discouraged with it last week. Let me explain why. It's a game that is punishing and difficult and takes about 15 hours or so to complete, right? No big deal there. No surprise there. It's not like it's one of those games that people play through multiple times. It's one that I had planned on being one and done with. However, in my one and done course of action, I thought, well, maybe I'll get as many trophies as I can. And maybe even this will be one of those games that I could, because I saw somewhere that one playthrough and you can platinum it. And so I was super excited. I started playing. I thought, okay, I won't really look at the trophies too much. I don't want to spoil anything for myself. And then as I was looking them up, because I decided I did need to get certain ones in a certain way or whatever, this is where I came across that issue, Matt. I discovered that now I'm only a half hour to 45 minutes into the game. I already missed out on one of the most important trophies that you cannot go back for.
Oh, Robert.
And so half hour into a 15-hour experience, I have cursed myself to having to either restart or play the game through twice.
Yeah.
And that is not something I care to do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You can actually, believe it or not, and so this is kind of crazy. If you're not careful, you can actually lock yourself out of one of the trophies a minute into the game.
What?
Because there's a trophy for not using any health flasks when beating any of the bosses.
Okay.
And so what happens is if you use a health flask, you fight a boss the first minute into the game. If you use a health flask during that, you actually lock yourself out of that trophy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. And I mean, it's a doable game where you could easily do that without having to worry about it. But, right, it can happen. So
right.
I wanted to bring that up. And so I wanted to know, were there any games that you can think of that, frustrated you for having to go out of your way to actually do the trophy?
I know one that you're gonna be mad about. I never did it because of I just don't want to put the time into it. That basically the one in Fallout where you basically have to make everyone happy in your camp.
Oh, okay.
Fallout 4.
Yes.
And you basically just have to sit in your camp for like what, a couple hours?
I can't remember, something like
making
that,
people happy. And that was one I was just like, nope, not going to do that. Definitely not getting the platinum for that. I don't know. I try to, I think I've fallen off anymore as far as platinums. So I don't look up the things as much anymore. Cause I'm just like, whatever. I'll look it up, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. Cause I thought to myself, maybe I'll platinum Far Cry 5 when I was, going through it. And I was like, there's like these arcade modes and like the online stuff. I was like, I'm just not going to do that. Like the game is so far gone as far as, it's been out for so long. I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to put the time and effort into it that way. It was nice again to finish the story, but yeah, some of those things, especially if it's a huge backlog, do you really want to go back and do all that stuff?
No, I know I don't. And that's where, as soon as I saw that, I grimaced and I went, well, I don't know if I will actually ever get, anything further in this game I don't even know if I'll go back and start over again. I mean, it's only an hour, I'd say, of progress at most, but it's the frustration of having to do that, I think, is baloney.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do I want to spend my time that I could be playing, like we said, plenty of other games to do that? And again, it's a great game. I really enjoy it. I just don't know that it's worth it in that regard.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, I was trying to think if there were any other games like that. And I'm sure if I really thought about it, I'm sure there are other games that have frustrated me to that level.
Certainly.
I know, for example, that Assassin's Creed Odyssey 3 frustrated me, and that was not going out of my way. That was more of a glitch issue, but that was one of those ones that frustrated me.
Yeah, my issue with Assassin's Creed 2 and the glitch with the feathers that kept me from the platinum. I feel like we both had glitch issues for sure, but I feel like in the early days of our trophy hunting, I think we've been okay with going out of the way. I think as we've grown older and our time has dwindled as far as how much we're able to play games, we're kind of like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of games now where I'm like, nope, thanks anyway. I appreciate what you told me or what you're trying to do here, but I'm just not doing it. Not feeling it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I brought that up because it was just frustrating to me, and I wanted to know if there are other people out there who have looked at a game list and went, "Oh, come on, really? Like, you're gonna try and make me do this for this game?" You know, the same thing actually happened to me with Code Vein. I guess that's the other reason I bring it up is because Code Vein also did this to me recently, where there was a game, there was a moment in one of those game bosses where I didn't realize I was supposed to be doing something, and I didn't do it. And so it was the very early on, like maybe 15 hours into the game. And I spent the next 35 hours of the game grimacing and irritated at the fact that I'm basically missing out on the best ending because I didn't do something early on.
Right. That's the worst.
And personally, if I'm going to see the game through once, that is one of the few things I want to do. I always want to try to achieve the quote unquote best ending because I'm really only going to try and do this one time.
Yeah. Right.
That's the way it is, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to say, you know what? Nope. I'll play through the story mode and that's going to be it.
Yep. Not today, Satan, you know?
I feel like you say that a lot because it's blasphemous.
Yeah, I feel like I do sometimes actually because of that game.
Yeah.
Matt, I guess that's it for topics, right? We've covered everything that we felt like covering. So perhaps we should just go ahead then and move on to talking about the blog drop and talking about see you soon and see what comes out this week.
See you soon.
All right, so this is this is the drop. This is where we like to recognize at least every game at least one time as, you know, they come out and we talked about so many coming out that it can be hard, right, to play them all. Yeah. But we want to try to give them a fair shake, at least as many of them as we can. After all, they deserve it.
Yeah.
So as tradition dictates, do you want to go first? I think this is a good one for you to start with.
Yeah, I'm going to go first for sure. Bleep Bloop. That's correct. I said it right. Bleep Bloop. PS4 Digital. Meet Bleep and Bloop as they help each other overcome all the challenges that stand in their way. A light-hearted and playful puzzle game about working together. Play alone, controlling both characters, or share the experience with a friend. Bleep Bloop is easy to learn, but that doesn't mean the puzzles will be a piece of cake.
Haha. I feel like they missed out on a bleep bloop joke there with the easy to learn thing. I feel like there was something else missing there. That they could have said.
So too.
Alrighty. I guess that means I'm up, right? With Brain in Retro. Am I reading that right? Brain in Retro. All right. Yep. Eric games invites players to experience 80s retro world. Not an 80s retro world, just 80s retro world. Right. It's Brain in Retro Space. They forgot the space part at the top of the title there. Brain in Retro Space appeals to all gamers with its multiple. So this is Sony screwing up. This is not the dev when their submitted description. Right. With all gamers with its multiple game modes. Choose your favorite car and spacecraft and challenge your skills.
Ooh, cool. All right. Up next.
Yes.
Five Nights at Freddy's. PS4 Digital.
Is this like a mobile game and they're just now bringing it to PS4? I swore this game has been on PS4 for like years.
I don't know. Maybe. Anyways, welcome to your new summer job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The main attraction is Freddy Fazbear, animatronic robots programmed to please the crowds. As the night security guard, you must watch the security cameras carefully. Sometimes the animatronics function on their own. Can you survive 5 nights at Freddy's? Ooh, spooky.
I've played some of that somewhere before, and that's why I was wondering.
Okay.
All right. Foxyland, PS4, PS Vita, digital, and it's cross-buy. Help Foxy Fox on a dangerous journey to rescue his love, Jenny. Without your help, Foxy won't be able to save her. Jump and dodge past challenging enemies and traps while collecting gems and cherries across 36 levels. Dress up Foxy by purchasing additional accessories for him using the cherries you collect on your journey.
Ooh,
I feel like that was a missed opportunity. When they said dress up Foxy, I thought they were making like a joke, like dress up like sexy. Yeah. But no, that's a missed opportunity, I think, there.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, up next we got Gas Guzzlers Extreme, PS4 Digital. Gas Guzzlers Extreme is a fast, furious, armed to the teeth, trigger-happy shooter shifted into top gear. Take a white-knuckle ride in this crazily addictive combat racing game that features a ton of vehicles, weapons, upgrades, on-track bonuses, environments, and a zombie apocalypse. Wow, that features
they had me
everything.
Yeah, it does. I was kind of sold until they said zombie apocalypse, and it's like, come on, guys. Can we do a game where there's not a zombie apocalypse?
No. Yeah, like, I agree.
Can we just let it go? Not Frozen, let it go, but let it, All right. I've heard good things about this one because it's on the Switch. And I don't know why this guy looks like the dog bounty hunter, but he does. Galazzo is a dynamic arcade football game with a medium-sized field, no fouls, and offsides whistled. Just pure fun. Mastering the game is incredibly easy during the fun and furious 7v7 matches. With its local multiplayer modes and crazy vintage approach, Galazzo is the ideal choice for couch and party gamers. You know what I'm talking about, Terry, the bounty dog hunter?
No, I know what you're talking about. Dog the bounty hunter?
That's who that guy looks like.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty. Here it is for you. I don't know why you buy a Switch. Gris, PS4 Digital. Gris is a hopeful young girl lost in her own world, dealing with a painful experience in her life. Her journey through sorrow is manifested in her dress, which grants new abilities to navigate her fated reality. Gris is a serene and evocative experience, free of danger, frustration, or death. It can be enjoyed by anyone regardless of their spoken language. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, right. It sounds real good. I'm like super excited about that one. And yet, here, surprise drop. And apparently it's getting a physical release too from limited run games. And so go figure, the game, I kid you not, I literally, when I was debating buying a Switch, I was like, I can finally play Gris. I've heard so much about this. I didn't think Super Mario Odyssey. I didn't think Zelda. I thought Gris. And here it is. So, all right. Pick a Pix Classic 2, as if we don't have enough of these. The latest installment in the popular picture crossword series. Pick a Pix is a picture logic game, sometimes known as Picross, Nonogram, or Hanji, where whimsical pixel art pictures are created by solving puzzles. Pick a Pix Classic 2 features 150 brand new single color puzzles from 15 by 15 to up to 30 by 20 grids. There were so many P's in that description. I feel like they should have just went all the way with it and done nothing but P's the entire time for the description.
Yeah, for sure. That would have been nice.
All right. I like this next one. This looks ridiculous.
Yeah. This guy pointing at me.
Yeah.
Soccer, Tactics, and Glory. That's right. There's a comma in the title. PS4 Digital, out 11/27. It's an original combination of turn-based strategy and RPG. Create a football team, play matches, earn XP, train skills, learn new classes, upgrade facilities, buy and sell footballers, grow youth, make hard choices. It's a deep strategy which respects your time.
Isn't that
Does any deep strategy respect your time?
True. And also, doesn't FIFA have this? Create a football team, play matches, earn XP, train skills, learn new classes, upgrade facilities. I mean, this is kind of like FUT, right? For FIFA, the Football Ultimate Team, or HUT. Do you remember NHL 19, the career mode and the HUT mode?
Yep.
This is kind of basically it anyway, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Story of a gladiator. You are a common man who has lost everything in the war against the Roman Empire. You spend much of your time in the streets of Rome looking for some sort of meaning in your life and wondering why the gods have spared you. One day, fate finally reveals itself. Are you ready to accept it? The arena awaits you, gladiator.
Ooh.
It must be Halloween for these next couple.
I guess. All right, next we have The Nightfall, PS4 Digital, out 11/27. You spend the first night alone in your new house. Darkness falls and a night begins that you have never experienced before. What begins with insomnia and a slight malaise becomes an absolute nightmare over time. This is a very special house that doesn't just mean good to you. Will you be able to survive this night until dawn?
All right. I'm feeling that. Not personally. I don't want to play that.
That sentence did not make sense to me. This is a very special house that doesn't just mean good to you. What?
Don't question it. Just take it.
Okay. Moving on.
Just take
Finally,
it. Finally,
we got the last one.
All right. True Fear, Forsaken Souls, Part 2. No, it just says Part 2. It's Part 2. Feels like it should be right. What's there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
True Fear, Forsaken Souls combines the best of psychological thriller with the intuitive gameplay mechanics for a mind-bending mystery escape game. If you're looking for a horror game that doesn't sacrifice the story, this game is for you.
Ooh,
all right.
Creepy.
Yeah. That's going to wrap it up for the blog. That's going to wrap it up for us. I know this wasn't the news-laden week that we typically have. I thought maybe we'd take a break from that because honestly, too, there was not anything I really thought was worth reporting on. If you're really interested in the news and what you missed, though, please, let us know and we'll be happy to go back to covering it next week and touching on everything. But I looked at it and I was like, meh. This
not
week,
much there.
Not really.
Yeah.
So
right.
Anyway.
Fantastical.
Yeah, agreed. If you like what you heard, go find us, share us, rate us, and subscribe to us on the podcast service of your choice. If you want this a day early, you can head over to patreon.com. If you want us to do more, head over to patreon.com and join us. And then you too can suggest what we do on this podcast.
Sweet.
Until next time, really, I guess that's all I've got. Thanks for stopping by. And game on, as they say.
Game on. Guest Guzzler Extreme outro music. We have so many features, it's hard to list them in one breath. Don't forget about the zombie apocalypse. Yeah!
Oh, that game is so whatever.
Oh,
good
man.
Stuff. Good stuff. Good times.
Good times. Yeah, good times.